Administrators today do not have a lot of good tools for inventorying installed applications, so it's really difficult for them to get their hands around software assets in many cases. Here's a couple of techniques that they'll often use, typically resorting to something like VBScript, or for more advanced administrators, Windows PowerShell. You can change to the HKLM drive, which is the HKey local machine portion of the registry, change to Software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall. You can then get a listing, and it's often easiest if you select out just the PS child name property, because that will be a list of all applications that have been installed via the normal Windows installer mechanism. Now there's a downside here in that it doesn't really expose a lot of information about the actual product. This is going to show software, so you might see Microsoft Word here, but it doesn't necessarily tell you that you have Microsoft Office, what edition you have, and so forth. Another technique that administrators will often rely on is Windows Management Instrumentation. PowerShell provides a command, get WMI object, and there is a Win32 product class. Now this is kind of a bonus thing that administrators will often discover, and there's definite upsides to it. As you'll see, it does provide a lot of good information. It does miss things though. Any software that wasn't installed through the Windows installer service doesn't get listed by this particular query. And another downside is that the act of querying it forces Windows installer to actually go through and revalidate every single one of the packages that are installed on the computer. So you can see it can take quite a while for this to execute, and it can create a fairly significant amount of overhead. It's not something you want to do very frequently. So without having a good inventory, it's tough to tell what your software assets are. You can see that I've only got a few things listed here. There's other applications installed on this computer, but they weren't installed through the Windows installer via a Windows installer package, and so this doesn't provide them either. It's really tough to get a complete list. Now you start talking about things like hardware assets, and it's just more queries. Perhaps you'll get some information about the BIOS. That'll give you manufacturer information, serial numbers, and so forth. You might have to query another class for operating system information, including version. And you have to be careful to select all the information you want, because there's quite a bit of it available. Administrators can spend an amazing amount of time just digging around and piecing all these different bits of information together. It can be terribly, terribly inefficient.